posting here, this is 9/4. When we post, they're talking about posting the accounts payable. So this is this column. We need to post it individually to the vendor and then the total to accounts payable. Does that make sense? So each individual one will in the accounts payable will be posted. So this one's Beard and Chemicals. So you can see our running total. We owed them $5,480. Then we charged $6,000 more. Then we paid off the first bill. And now we're back down to $6,284. So this is the running accounts payable subsidiary ledger for that account. And then we put the account number there. We will later, we don't post it to accounts payable. We post it to the vendor. When we get to the total, we'll post that. So I'm kind of jumping ahead, but I wanted to let you see that. Okay. Each entry in accounts payable, cash payment affects the vendors, so we want to frequently post. We don't do it as much as it'll be automatic in our day. Frequent posting will allow the vendors, will allow us to know how much we owe. They'll know how much they'll tell us. If we, as a manager, you can get in trouble if your accounts payables are too high. If they say, hey, you're charging too much money, we can't afford this, that kind of thing. There's going to be credit limits, if you guys have heard of that. Like if you wanted to buy a house, you can't just go to Glen Oaks and buy a house in a gated community, right? You need to prove that you earn X amount of dollars. And so when you guys go to college or get a job, you might get a credit card things, and they will ask, what's your income? Do you have a job? This type of thing. And there'll be credit limits based on the amount of money, income factors, family factors that go involved. So credit limits, the maximum amount of a balance that you can have or that a customer can have. In this case, a balance a customer is allowed by a vendor. Okay. So you can maybe go to a store and they'll fill out the credit report, and then you're like, okay, how much can I buy if I'm charging? What is the amount? Okay, and they'll keep moving that around. It says Beard and Chemicals established $12,000, so we can continue purchasing from them. You got a running total, so it doesn't really matter. But they wanted to let you know about credit limit, the maximum amount someone can be borrowing or charging on the account. Okay, and then they just give you the steps to posting there. But credit limit's something you'll see later, okay? That kind of makes sense. You can't have a $20,000 credit limit if you only make $200 a month. They're not going to allow you to borrow that much, okay? So posting's not going to be too bad. You're going to post accounts payable individually to the vendor. Now this title then says the general amount columns are going to be posted individually to each account. So purchases, all the expenses, the supplies office, we buy insurance, we will post these individually to the general ledger. So we're in the general ledger. They kind of give you different colors, right? But you also know because we have two balances columns in the general ledger versus the accounts payable. So nothing fancy. You go to purchases, okay? You always got the page numbers. You add debits to debits. And then the last step is to put the post reference up there. So we're going to post all individual debits, all individual credits in the general debit and credit. We're also going to post all accounts payable debits to the vendor. Okay? Each amount in the general columns, the cash payments is posted individually. That probably should be in pink. I think that's a test question. I don't know why I did it in yellow. But you got it in your book anyway. And you should know that, because when we do practice problems, you'll get the hang of it. Each individual amount in the general debit or credit needs to be posted to the general ledger account. Okay? And then they have the steps down there. Now we got to do the totals. All right. So we have totals for all 5 columns. Okay, they make a big deal, like always, about single ruling, double ruling when debits equal credits. That's another check. Your debit accounts should equal the credit accounts. Okay, so just a That's just another way of doing it. They'll ask you to prove each journal, whether it be I don't think we have to prove purchase. There's only one count. Cash payments, we'll have to prove sales. We'll have to prove cash receipts. Both those next chapter. Okay, so you just make sure debits equal credits. Okay, a journal is proved and ruled when if it's filled out at the end of the month, debits must equal credits. That's when you would then write, once you've proved it, then you would double rule it to show that it's been proved. Okay, this is all just talking about how you prove it. Okay, so you're just going to add up the columns. That's not too bad. So post the accounts payable individually, post the general debits and credits individually, add up the columns, prove it, make sure debits equal credits, and then we need to post the special amount columns. General doesn't get posted because there is no account called general. So we just check mark those. And then down here, now we will post to accounts payable. We'll put the total into our accounts payable general ledger account. Okay? And then you got to kind of see accounts payable. We owed $5,000 here. We put another 21 in. We paid 7,000 off. So now we're down to that much money. You will have to subtract, right? When there's a credit to a credit, you add it. When there's a debit to a credit, you subtract it. Okay? All right. And then the last step, you just put it underneath. And I believe in our thing now, we just type it and then the parentheses come up. I can't remember, but I think that's how. And we'll put the check marks in there because no accounts. We'll post the accounts payable. You'll post the total of purchases discount at the end, okay? And then you'll post cash. You can't see it, but here's cash, $12,269.28, $12,269.28. And then again, with this one, if it's a debit balance and you have a credit, you want to make sure you subtract. Sometimes we just get in a hurry. So just double check, because that's common errors when we add and when we're supposed to subtract, or vice versa in our ledgers. You put the account number for cash up at the bottom as well. So in cash payments, we should have 2 check marks and 3 accounts numbers for the accounts payable, purchases discount, and cash posting. Okay? So we're not posting anything individually in purchases discount or cash. Okay, just the total. Total of each special amount column with the account named at the top and the column heading needs to be posted at the end of each month. General columns are not posted. Check mark for those. It's basically what we just said. Okay. They give you the steps here, but nothing too major. They give you a completed accounts payable ledger. This is our subsidiary ledger, so it shows you all the balances, okay, that we have. And then you have to prove the subsidiary ledger accounts payable. And what you do is you post it all the amount of money that we owe each of these vendors, and this $19,604.67 should equal our accounts payable number. The balance accounts payable in general ledger is $19,604.67. This number for the accounts payable ledger is $19,604.67, so that means it's equal. We did a schedule of accounts payable in Chapter 8, right? Well, we didn't. We did a post-closing trial balance. This is very, very similar to that. When we did the post-closing trial balance, we brought all the real accounts over that we were bringing a balance. And the next month, this is the balances of all of our payables, all the people we owe money to. So accounts payable is our controlling account. These are our subsidiary accounts payable vendors. The total that we owe all our vendors should equal our controlling account balance. Okay? So that's another check number. The official definition schedule of accounts payable is here, where it's just telling you it's a listing of all the vendors here and their accounts balances. So list of vendor account balances and the total amount it owes. Okay? So once you get done posting, you'll put all these totals in the ledger onto a form. It'll be who, what, when, and you just list them out. And that should be it. That's all 9.5 is. Okay. All right. Let's go to the work together.